Russia and China. A strategic partnership. A united front against the West. A facade. Behind the smiles and handshakes lies a more complex reality. Russia, the once mighty bear, finds itself increasingly dwarfed by its eastern neighbor. China, the dragon, is ascendant. Its economic and military might casts a long shadow, one that stretches across the Siberian plains and into the heart of Russia's future. For decades, the narrative was simple: two giants united against a common adversary. But narratives change, power shifts, and in the 21st century, the balance of power is tilting eastward, with potentially devastating consequences for Russia. This is not a tale of open warfare, not yet. It is a story of subtle encroachment, of economic dependence, and of a growing military imbalance that even the Kremlin cannot ignore. The threat to Russia is not imminent invasion, at least not in the traditional sense. It is the slow, insidious erosion of its power and autonomy. It is the creeping realization that Russia, once a global superpower, risks becoming a junior partner in a relationship it can no longer control. This is the story of how a bear found itself in the shadow of a dragon. The Silk Road, an ancient trade route, now a symbol of China's ambition. The Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing's grand plan to reshape global trade, runs right through Russia's backyard. Infrastructure projects, energy deals, and investment promises flow eastward, drawing Russia into China's economic orbit. On the surface, a win-win. Russia, starved for investment after years of sanctions, welcomes Chinese capital. But this dependence comes at a price.
Russia finds itself increasingly reliant on Chinese markets for its energy exports, its economic lifeline. Chinese companies gain footholds in strategic sectors, from mining to technology. The numbers tell a stark story. China is now Russia's largest trading partner. Bilateral trade has skyrocketed in recent years, with China holding the upper hand. This economic asymmetry translates into leverage. Beijing can use its economic clout to influence Russian decision-making, pushing for favorable deals and concessions.
Russia, once wary of Chinese economic might, now finds itself entangled in a web of dependence. The Silk Road, once a symbol of trade and cooperation, threatens to become a noose, tightening around Russia's economic neck. While economic power lays the groundwork, it is military might that truly shapes the balance of power. Here, too, the dragon is ascendant. China's military modernization has been nothing short of breathtaking. Once a lagging force, it now boasts cutting-edge weaponry and capabilities that rival, even surpass, those of Russia. China's defense spending has soared, fueling a relentless drive for military superiority.
Its navy, once a coastal defense force, is now a blue water navy, projecting power far beyond its shores. Its Air Force fields advanced fighter jets and bombers, challenging Russia's long-held dominance in the skies. Then there are the missiles. China's hypersonic missile program has sent shockwaves through Western capitals, including Moscow. These weapons, capable of evading even the most sophisticated missile defense systems, represent a game-changer in modern warfare.
Russia, while still possessing a formidable arsenal, struggles to keep pace with China's relentless technological advances. The gap is widening. China's military modernization is not merely about catching up to Russia. It is about surpassing it, becoming the dominant military power in Asia and beyond. This shift in the balance of power has profound implications for Russia's security and its standing on the world stage. The most visible sign of China's growing military might is not in the South China Sea or the Taiwan Strait, but on the desolate plains of Russia's Far East. Here, along a border that stretches for thousands of miles, China has been steadily increasing its military presence. Troop deployments, military exercises, and infrastructure upgrades all point to a growing focus on Russia's eastern flank.
While China downplays its activities as routine, the Kremlin is watching closely. The build-up in the Far East mirrors China's assertive posture in other regions, raising concerns about its long-term intentions. Russia, already bogged down in Ukraine, can ill afford another military challenge, especially not from a neighbor with such vast resources and ambitions.
The historical baggage only adds to the tension. The two countries share a long and tumultuous history, marked by territorial disputes and ideological clashes. While the Cold War rivalry is long over, the scars remain, a reminder of the mistrust that still lingers beneath the surface.
China's growing presence on Russia's border is a stark reminder of the shifting power dynamics. It is a sign that Beijing, once content with a secondary role, is now asserting itself in its own backyard, even if that backyard was once considered Russia's sphere of influence.
Inside the halls of the Kremlin, behind closed doors, a new conversation is taking place. Military analysts and strategists, once dismissive of China's military capabilities, are sounding the alarm. They warn of a growing imbalance of power, of Russia's vulnerability to Chinese pressure, and of the potential for miscalculation and conflict.
China's rise is the single greatest challenge to Russia's long-term security, says Dr. Dmitry Trenin, a prominent Russian military expert. Their economic and military power is reaching levels that we cannot ignore.
These concerns are echoed by Western observers. Russia is facing a strategic dilemma, says Dr. Fiona Hill, a former US National Security Council official. They need China's economic and diplomatic support, but they are increasingly wary of its growing power.
The dilemma for Russia is real. Aligning too closely with China risks further dependence and undermines its own aspirations for great power status. But confronting China, either directly or indirectly, could provoke a backlash, jeopardizing vital economic ties and potentially leading to conflict. The world is changing. The old order, with its familiar alliances and rivalries, is giving way to a new, more fluid and unpredictable landscape. In this new world, the rules are being rewritten, and old certainties are crumbling. For Russia, long accustomed to being a dominant player, this new reality is both disorienting and dangerous. China's rise is not merely a regional phenomenon, it is a global transformation. As the dragon ascends, it will reshape the geopolitical landscape, creating new winners and losers along the way. Russia, once a formidable power, risks finding itself on the losing side of this historical shift. The future is unwritten, but the warning signs are clear. Russia's alliance with China, once seen as a strategic masterstroke, is becoming a double-edged sword. The bear, once feared and respected, now finds itself increasingly dependent on a partner that may not always have its best interests at heart. The challenge for Russia is not to confront China directly, but to navigate this new reality with prudence and foresight. It must find a way to protect its interests while avoiding a confrontation it can ill afford. The stakes are high. The future of Russia as a great power may depend on it. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth analysis.